Joining us on the show today, great to welcome as we head into the Olympic season coming up next month in Rio, a woman who has made a name for herself in the world of running. She's written a book about her experiences called Run the World, My 3,500-Mile Journey Through Running Cultures Around the Globe. We're joined today by Becky Wade on the phone. And Becky, good to talk with you. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Had a chance to read through the book, and you've had an interesting career in running, but the book is really kind of more about your experiences, I guess about a year on the road outside the country and different kind of cultures running. It must have been kind of fun for you.
That's right. It was life-changing.
What brought on to do that? Because you didn't have to do that for training. You kind of did that on your own, right?
Yeah. I was a scholarship athlete at Rice University, and soon after I graduated, I received the Thomas J. Watson Fellowship, and that entailed a funded year-long independent journey around the world pursuing a passion, and mine was long-distance running. And so I just dove into running cultures all around the world, stayed with runners and hosts, learned all new styles, and just saw many different approaches to long-distance running.
Yeah, that award, which I thought was kind of interesting, reading up on it, I guess part of the rules are you have to do something outside the U.S., right?
That's right. It's a year spent outside of the U.S., and we have to travel by ourselves. We come up with our own itineraries and our own projects to pursue around the world. And so mine was my biggest passion, and naturally that was running.
Now, you've been more the middle distance runners, is that right? Pretty much?
I'm a long distance runner. I run the marathon.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you had been middle distance before that, right?
Well, I ran long distance in college too. I ran the 10K and the steeplechase. Not quite as long as the marathon, but still I was distance.
The steeplechase, which occasionally they show that in the track and field meets, it's kind of like a hurdle, but spread further apart, right?
That's right. Yeah, they're immovable wooden barriers, and we have 5 per lap, and one of those is over a water pit. So we have to jump in and out of a water pit.
I know they do that in horse racing, the steeplechase with the horses, and they run it over. I didn't know they had water in the human steeplechase.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about your experiences. Just reading through the book, it was kind of interesting how you described the different cultures. I mean, you went literally all around the world, England, Ireland, Switzerland, and I guess most of us think Ethiopia, that's kind of their national sport running, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, very much so.
What was that like for you? Big culture shock?
Culture shock, yeah, it was challenging at times, of course, because, so different and just took a lot of getting used to. But, the training style was actually very refreshing and very interesting to me. The Ethiopians typically train in a single file line, and there's not a whole lot of planning that goes into the distance or the route or the pace. And so getting used to that was a challenge at first, but something that I learned to embrace and while falling in love with the running culture there.
That was kind of a follow the leader type, wasn't that the deal there? You just follow the rowers in front, and they don't tell you how far you're going to go either, right? You just keep running until they say stop, right?
Yeah, part of that is because we often didn't share a language, but part of that is because that's just the style. People who are in line just kind of go with it and are prepared to respond to any changes in the moment.
I thought your description of running in Japan was interesting. They have a different kind of attitude toward running, don't they, or a different style?
They do, yeah. Big miles, really long runs, a lot of discipline and rigidity. But I actually had a different experience from all that in Tokyo, which I found out when I got there was not quite the running hub that I anticipated, but most of the elite runners I found train in more rural and mountainous regions of Japan.
What was the most like America? I would guess England or Australia, probably, right?
Exactly. Those two, I would say.
Did you enjoy one country more than another? I guess they've all had good parts and maybe not so good parts, but what was your favorite?
Oh, it's hard to say because my experiences were colored by my hosts and my friends in each place, and I made some really great friends everywhere, but I think the most transformative part of my trip was Ethiopia.
Yeah, it's such a different culture there. It would be different. How long were you in each location? All about the same amount of time each, or different times?
No, anywhere from a few days to 2 months. And I actually went to 22 countries, but I spent the most time in 9. And so those are the 9 that I focus on in Run the World. And those I spent anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months.
And just over the course of the year, 3,500 miles of running. That's amazing that you can even do that. Some people don't drive that much. Would you run every day, or do you take a day off here and there on something like that?
Yeah, I did have days off. I'm used to running mostly every day, but taking one day off every few weeks. And while I was traveling, I tried to build that around my travel schedule. If I knew I was going to have a long travel day or, be getting over jet lag or something, I would try to build in a day there to take off.
I should say, I didn't mention it before, you were the third fastest female marathoner under the age of 25 in U.S. history, so that's quite an accomplishment there.
Thank you.
Are you planning on going for the trials this year? Or?
I did. I ran at the trials this year. Didn't make the team.
They already had it. Okay, I wasn't sure they had the Olympic one yet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't finish in the top 3, but I think that we're sending a really amazing distance team to Rio, and so I'm excited to follow along from here.
And then you still run, I guess, professionally, right? In track and field, you can make money at it now. They changed that rule a few years ago, so you can make a living at that now?
That's right. My primary sponsor is ASICS, the shoe company that's based in Japan, and I'm also sponsored by Cliff Bar and 44 Farms. So combined, those help to make this career.
But when you're a marathoner, and I'm someone who kind of took up 5Ks about a year and a half ago, I never did it before, so I understand it's difficult just doing that. How do you keep the training for a marathon? How many miles a day do you have to run?
Everyone's program is different, and some people thrive off, low mileage. I typically hover between 100 and 110 miles a week when I'm getting ready for a marathon.
Wow.
We do build in lower weeks every few weeks. We'll drop down a little bit just to recover, but that's 2 times a day most days, one really long run a week, and some hard workouts mixed in there too.
How many pairs of shoes do you go through in a year doing that?
I went through 11 when I was traveling, but I had to be pretty resourceful. So now I probably go through a little more than that, maybe 15, 16 a year.
Wow, yeah, it takes a wear and tear on not only the shoe, but the legs as well. But really, it's an interesting book giving your experiences. It's called Run the World, My 3,500-Mile Journey Through Running Cultures Around the Globe. We've been talking with Becky Wade today. And Becky, do you have a website? People can get more information about you and the book?
Well, you can get information about the book on Amazon is where you can order it, as well as at any major bookstore. And then if you're interested in reading any of my blog entries from my trip, you can find that at beckyrunsaway.wordpress.com.
Great. Becky, pleasure talking to you. Good luck to you in your future, and hopefully we can talk again.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.